This might be a very easy webinar.
Yeah, it looks like the recording has started automatically. If I suddenly go on mute, it's because my dogs are getting all rowdy in the background. So I apologize in advance if that happens. But knock on wood, so far they are taking a nap. I tried to tire them out before this webinar, so we'll see if I was successful. Okay, hi everyone. My name's Ian Hippensteel, he, him. I'm based in California and I work for CIEE as the Global Education Advisor for Northern California and the state of Nevada. Thank you all so much for your time this evening. We are going to be spending the next hour going over amazing options in leadership and service programs. So we are going to be speaking to you. There are a couple of CIEE staff members on this call, but more importantly, our amazing alums are going to be speaking to you personally about their recent experiences studying abroad with us on leadership and service programs. So how this webinar is going to be structured is that we're going to start with a basic overview of CIEE, an overview of some of the programs that we are offering in summer of 2024. And then I'm going to turn the floor over to three of our incredible global ambassadors. Global ambassadors are alums who have signed on to champion CIEE programs and really help spread the word to not only peers at their high schools, but also high schools all across the US. So I introduced myself. I'm going to popcorn over to Pia, who's first on our screen, and Pia is going to introduce herself, and then we're just going to go down the list, and then we can jump right into our presentation. Take it away, Pia.
Hi, I'm Pia. I live in California in a very small place called Albany. No one knows it. It's near Berkeley, if that makes sense. I go to Albany High and I went to the Dominican Republic over the summer, last summer, and I did a program called Leadership and Service in Youth Development.
Cool. And then maybe Jackson, can you introduce yourself next?
Hi, I'm Jackson. I'm a senior at Newbury Park High School in Thousand Oaks, California. So this is in Southern California. And this last summer I studied in Yucatan in Mexico for a leadership and service and youth development program. Lasted 3 weeks.
Awesome. And last but certainly not least, Kaichi, can you introduce yourself and your program?
Hi, my name is Kai Chi, and I live in Houston, Texas. And this summer I traveled to DR like Pia, except I did leadership and service in public health. And I go to Carnegie High School.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much to all three of our amazing alums. Thank you as well to Kaichi and out of Texas because you are in a different time zone. It's a little bit later for you. We really appreciate the late evening involvement. So thanks to all three of you for spreading the word about these terrific programs. I'm also here with my colleague Simone, who's going to be answering some questions in the chat as we go along. But don't worry, there'll be lots of time for Q&A at the end of this presentation. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen. Cool. So thank you all so much again for participating in tonight's webinar. This next hour will be focused on leadership and service programs. This is a really key, important part of the overall program portfolio that CIEE offers. Leadership and service is, so important to us as a nonprofit organization focused on intercultural exchange, and also really important towards the personal and I think collective growth of all of our students, our alums, and these next generation of world leaders that we are very privileged to be working with and educating. So we're going to talk about just a few of the incredible leadership and service oriented options that are on offer for summer of 2024. But first, I would like to spend just a minute talking about CIEE in kind of broad strokes. So CIEE, as some of you on this call may know, is actually, fun fact, the oldest and largest nonprofit organization in the entire world dedicated to study abroad and international exchange. So CIEE, we've been around for 76 years, actually. We support over 30,000 students every year. So a portion of those 30,000 students are high school students, 3 of whom are on this call and will be speaking to you as alums today. So we're very, very happy to see the number of high school students that makes up the overall 30,000 number of students grow every single year. We started working primarily with students at the college level, but then almost a decade ago, we've begun working with high school students to offer experiential, place-based, immersive study abroad programming for current high school students every summer. So since then, the number of high school students that we've worked with has been steadily growing year over year over year. And we're really happy about that because we're all about kind of the mission that students shouldn't have to wait until college to really see, explore, and really learn about where and how they fit in as part of an interconnected global community. As I mentioned, we are a nonprofit organization. That is really key because nonprofits in the US, those are the organizations that are able to receive donations. So we receive donations that allows us to actually administer what is the largest scholarship fund in the entire world for US high school students to study excuse me, to study abroad. So in summer of 2023, we gave out $6 million in financial aid and scholarship. So we're not only about helping students explore, we're about making sure that it is feasible, possible, accessible, making sure that these opportunities are open to as many students as possible. So this map is something that we are super proud of. Each dot on this map represents a different location that CIEE is bringing students to at the high school level in summer of 2024. So each dot is a different city throughout the world that high school students will be traveling to next summer, summer of 2024. You might notice that a few of these cities are circled. So we have cities in the Dominican Republic, in Mexico, in Morocco, and in Ghana. These are the programs that are specifically focused on leadership and service. But each of these programs, each dot represents a different location that we are operating a program in summer of 2024. And the best resource to explore all of our almost 40 different summer 2024 study abroad programs is on our website. So I want to talk a little bit more about our approach to service learning. As educators, as an organization, we strive to work in solidarity with local community members, with the shared belief that change comes from within the community. We're all about our students exploring the world and their role in the world. We're all about students gaining experience, working with and in social programs and reflecting on that work on a daily basis. So you'll hear from these amazing alums in just a minute, but ultimately these experiential study abroad programs really are all about reinforcing the learning on a continual daily basis through journaling, through reflective exercises, and through really reinforcing the learning that is happening both inside and outside of the classroom. Ultimately, our goal is for students to come home back to the United States at the end of their summer with us, ready to make a difference in their own local communities. So, just in kind of broad strokes, we're going to talk about what a day-to-day might look like for a student on one of these programs. So Monday through Friday, students will start their mornings in an environment not too different from their regular classroom environment here in the US. What that looks like in the mornings is 2 to 3 hours of interactive classes or workshops. These are typically held in a traditional classroom setting. So at first, right, it might not look terribly different from their day-to-day classroom structure in the US, but in the afternoons, that's when things start to look quite different. So in the afternoon, students are actually assigned hands-on, experiential, place-based learning activities that have them going out and about into the community to serve the local community, to explore, to ask questions, to learn as much as possible in a hands-on, applied way. So in the afternoons, after those 2 to 3 hours of class activities in the morning, the afternoons will be a mix of hands-on guided learning opportunities within the community, plus cultural activities, plus free time to explore. On the weekends, students are given one day trip as well as one overnight excursion. So this is a great way to see other areas of the country outside of one particular city. So during the week, right, Monday through Friday, students typically spend the majority, if not all of their time in the city proper. But then on the weekends, that day trip as well as that overnight excursion provides a great opportunity to see more of the country and to see quite a lot actually in just 3 or 4 short weeks. So I am now going to turn the floor over to our incredible global ambassadors. I think we're going to start at the top of this slide. So maybe Jackson, if you can take it away and share your favorite moments from program.
Yeah, of course. So my favorite moments from the program are probably just working with a few different local NGOs in the Yucatan. One of which was dedicated to helping combat childhood cancer. and another helping the local homeless population by giving free meals, and another one that was all about environmental protection. I feel like working with these NGOs, learning how they function, and just being able to help out where we could was a very unique experience that I couldn't necessarily get over in California. So I was very delighted to see this opportunity in front of me, and I'm super happy I took it. It was a great experience to work with these NGOs.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jackson. And then Pia, can you share your reflections on your favorite moments from program?
Yeah, of course. So we worked with a local NGO called Acción Callejera, and we visited multiple impoverished villages to spend time with the local kids there. And when we started going through these villages, we played some music to, like break the ice and like, get to know the kids a little. And what was completely impromptu was that a couple of us, people who were doing the program, started dancing. And soon everybody joined in, even the kids were dancing, like even if they were hesitant at first. And that became our routine. Every time we visited a new village, we would play music, we would dance, and then start with our games or whatever we were going to do for the day. And so my favorite moments from the program were when we would walk into the room to meet the kids and see their like shy, hopeful faces turn into delight when we started dancing together.
That's so amazing. Thank you, Pia. I can't think of a better icebreaker than a spontaneous dance party. That is absolutely awesome. Finally, Kaichi, can you reflect on your favorite moments from program?
Yeah, definitely. Like a similar theme with Pia and Jackson is that really working with the kids was probably my most favorite part of the program. And it was so nice like seeing them come out of their shells, like Pia said, and like giving you hugs every day. And each day we would like form a much closer and deeper relationship. And while they also helped me a lot in my own path of growing, and also made me more comfortable with meeting new people, and it also helped me like figure out what my passion was, which was working with children. And it was a really nice aspect that we were able to combine like not only um, a lot of time volunteering at like local NGOs, but also understanding deeper really how the public health system works in the DR. And so seeing like the local aspect, and also see how public health plays a role in the community and the whole country aspect.
Wow, that's so interesting. Thank you, Kaichi, and thank you to all three of you for sharing this these incredible moments. I think we have a few more amazing slides. So I think we can kind of spend some time with Pia first to maybe, Pia, if you can reflect on your experiences, maybe talk to us about these awesome pictures. And then, so you have the floor, and just let me know when you'd like me to skip ahead to the next slide, okay?
Okay, sounds good. So if you didn't catch it, I'm Pia, and I did a program called Leadership and Service in Youth Development in the Dominican Republic. And although it was a thematic program, I stayed with a host family. And I really want to stress how studying abroad is such a valuable experience. I made lifelong friends and expanded my national and international community, all while doing meaningful work. And so, in addition to cultural activities and some classes, we worked with a local NGO called Acción Callejera, and we went to impoverished villages and spent time with the children there. And after 3 weeks, we completed 45 service hours. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. So I could talk about the technical stuff, like what a typical day looked like, but I think you can find that on the website. And I'd like to share what it's actually like to do a leadership and service program, like what you learn and how you grow. And of course, I'll be available to answer the technical stuff questions later. But one of the most important things that you learn through a leadership and service program is cultural awareness. So in addition to learning about a country's history and traditions and art, you experience it through active work in communities, which is really cool. When we spent time with the local kids, we saw how we impacted them. They learned to express themselves. Like Kai Chi said, they came out of their shell. And all of these kids had a hard life, but we gave them a chance to simply be kids again and dance and show us who they are. We gave them hope. Most of the children hadn't met anybody from anywhere else. And so by being there, we could be positive role models for them. And our lives were also changed. We changed the kids' lives, but our lives were also changed. For example, we learned how to communicate in different ways, like gestures or acting it out. And the kids just wanted to engage with us. They didn't really care whether or not we knew the language, so they always found a way. And this made our interactions fun, and the ability to adapt is something that will stay with me as a life skill. And working with these kids was eye-opening in many ways. But what really stuck out to me was how they were always so positive. They didn't have very happy lives, but they had a smile on their face every day and greeted us with laughter and hugs. They always wanted to learn more about our lives. And that really touched me. And us being there and listening to them is something that seems so simple, but it meant a lot. And experiencing all of these things was life-changing. And I'm so glad I did the program. So I hope you consider it too. On the slide, I've put my QR code so you can get $200 off your program cost. And feel free to reach out to me with any questions.
Wow, thank you so much, Pia. That sounds like such an incredible experience. I'm so moved by what you were saying about kind of those small everyday moments that, you know, for some are not available or are, you know, kind of put on the back burner because of other things going on. But that just is, wow, that sounds like an amazing experience. And yes, one thing that just to highlight, these QR codes are a resource to give anyone on this webinar a potential discount on their application. So you can scan a QR code from select alumni. You need to scan one QR code and then use that link that you are transmitted to via the QR code to start an application. So that's how that process works. So we are going to now turn the floor over to Kaichi, who's going to talk a little bit more about her experience on the same program, but during a different session. Kaichi, take it away.
Yeah, hi, my name is Kai Chi, and I feel like Pia did a really great job touching on how volunteering and like working with the children allowed us to like grow. And I also wanted to touch on another aspect, which was I feel like a lot of us probably it's going to be like the first time that um, that we travel like out to another country by ourselves. And so I feel like this was a really great opportunity to um, see how things work and also build your independence too. And what was really special about this program was that it really helped me figure out what I want to do in the future, which is pursuing a career in pediatrics. And they gave a lot of opportunities for us to work with the locals and see the community. And also, we got to see a lot of the various facilities and local hospitals because the session I did was in public health. And these pictures on the first slides are just like a few pictures that I really like because it really shows the life in the DR. It shows like the music, the culture, the colors, the vibrancy, and this program really allowed me to integrate into the culture really deeply too. And so that was a great aspect. And yeah, that's it for this slide. And then these are a few of the core memories I made from the program. Firstly, it was a lot of being able to work with the kids at the local NGO I worked at, which was the Red Misericordia, and we had a lot of fun activities with them. And you can imagine a day being like having painting sessions with them or engaging in sports with them. Or like dancing with them, singing with them, a lot of fun activities to get to know them. And then also a really cool aspect was being able to meet the local doctors and interviewing them, see how their daily life looked like, and see if that's maybe fit for what you want to do in the future. And we also were able to do a very impactful service project for the NGO, which was we were able to build a garden completely from scratch for their little community garden area. And what was really fun besides that actual learning part was during the weekends too, or like excursions, we also got to experience the city and see other parts of the DR and learn like a lot of the major products that were produced in the DR, such as cacao, how that was made. And also they have a special plant there. And we were able to like visit the factory, which was really cool too. And overall, I'd say that this was a very life-changing experience, like Pia mentioned, and it allowed me to see the world from a different perspective and also allowed me to build not only skills in leadership, but also communication as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing these incredible memories and these beautiful pictures, Kaichi. You can really get such a strong sense from looking at these pictures, just the absolute beauty and the vibrancy of the Dominican Republic. I love the story about building a garden from scratch, and you can see that picture in the lower left-hand corner. That's so, wow, that is just so amazing. What a terrific experience. Let me move on to the next slide. And last but not least, we will turn the floor over to Jackson. Take it away, Jackson.
Thank you. So I did the Leadership and Service program in Yucatan, Mexico. So we were stationed in Mérida, which is a very safe city in Mexico. It's very gorgeous, and it's a melting pot of Mexican and Mayan culture, which I think was very interesting. It's what attracted me to the place and to that specific program in the first place. So what we did is in general, like on a daily basis from Monday to Friday and weekdays, we typically headed to the CIEE building in the city where we were usually in a classroom doing certain workshops and learning about certain leadership and service skills. And then we would go out and have lunch or something at local restaurants and just have some fun for a little bit. And then in the afternoons, we would go to certain NGOs. And one of the ones that we went to a lot was called Asociación Mexicana de Ayuda a Niños con Cáncer, or AMANC. So this was the organization that was helping to combat childhood cancer. So what we did there was we learned how they function without government aid. And also we spent a lot of time working with kids, asking for donations with the locals, and in turn practicing our Spanish, which is it's like a secondary benefit to this program, just to be able to practice a second language. And generally this program wasn't just an educational program. This was also a lot of fun. So because we had a lot of like downtime and free time during the weekdays, especially, where my friends and I would be able to go to like the malls, the local malls, or I remember one time one of my friends' host mom took us to the Mayan city of Uxmal in the south of the state, which is really unique, and we got to see a bunch of ruins. And then our overnight excursion, which we had over the weekend, was to a city called Valladolid, which was further east than Merida in the state. And we were able to stay overnight and swim in cenotes. And we also got to see Chichen Itza, which was a really unique experience, and especially coming from a Mayan tour guide. But generally, this program is very beneficial, and it's a really unique experience that I would 100 times out of 100 recommend for anybody else to do, and I would absolutely do it again if I had the opportunity to. Next slide. Yeah, so these are a couple pictures. So I'm on the right picture. I'm in the right picture in the pink shirt, and I was practicing my Spanish with locals, asking for donations and informing them about AMANC, which is our organization that we were helping. And we actually ended up getting a lot of money in donations, which was being put to towards the new facility that they were building. And then on the left, there were certain celebrations that we had, and we put together to celebrate birthdays of both people in our program and of the patients at the facilities, which is a really unique and fun experience to be a part of. And then just another QR code for you guys to scan if you guys want to save another $200. And yeah, I'm open for contact if you guys have any other questions. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Jackson. These are incredible pictures. I really appreciate you talking about, kind of every aspect of spreading the word and really helping this like grassroots organization that is, it sounds like quite successful while receiving no public governmental assistance. That's just an incredible work that you and your cohort were able to do. So yeah, just truly commendable for all three of you. Let's see, I think at this point, I'm going to stop the PowerPoint slide share. And we are going to now kind of transition for the next 25 minutes or so, kind of transition into the last portion of our webinar for this evening, which is the Q&A. So this is a really great opportunity for anyone on this call to ask any questions of our amazing global ambassadors. As you can, certainly hear and see, they've had incredible experiences, really knowledgeable about these programs. So just feel free to ask anything that you might be wondering about. One thing that I want to mention, since we are running a Zoom webinar as opposed to just a regular Zoom meeting, there's a little bit of a different feature. So we have what's called the Q&A feature in a Zoom webinar. So make sure that you ask your questions through the Q&A module instead of the chat. Just one little bit of housekeeping that I need to mention. But yeah, just type away. And I think while folks are jotting down their questions into the Q&A module, I'm wondering for any or all of you, if you could kind of just, now that you're all back in school, right? It's November, hard to believe it's almost Thanksgiving break. We've all been back at it for several months now. I imagine there's sort of like a reverse culture shock type of thing happening. But now that you're all back in school, how do you look back on your experiences over the summer? Did it change anything for you while at school, or did it like kind of help guide or impact any of your current or future plans? Anyone, I'm not going to call in. I'm not going to call on anyone. So just anyone, feel free to jump in if you have any ideas.
Yeah, I feel like my experience there really allowed me to see how big the world is and how much there is yet to explore. And it also really inspired me to create a club at my school and allow opportunities like this to be more accessible to students, where you can, travel the world and find your passion. And something else was that like the things I learned there really have still stuck to me, like the local slang that they would use, or even now I'll miss like the smells of the street food, because and also just seeing the difference in the environment too was really shocking, like how the DR had so many murals and so many paintings. Yeah, and it really made me want to continue traveling abroad in the future and meeting like people from all over the world.
That's absolutely incredible, Kaichi. Thank you so much. What you mentioned that you started a club. What's the name of the club at your high school?
Yeah, I was really passionate about like different cultures and stuff, and so I started a club called Cultures Around the World, and we basically have like yeah, and we talk about CIEE there too.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so cool, Kaichi. Well, yeah, thank you for sharing. And I mean, I think that pings on one thing that we haven't mentioned so far in this webinar, and I feel compelled to bring it up. So I'm a former college counselor. I've worked both in a high school down in San Diego in Southern California, and I worked for a public university. So I've kind of seen both sides of the college admissions process. And of course, no one does community service just for college applications, right? We all do community service. We give back to the community for the personal benefits that we feel, as well as the community benefits. You all really touched on those quite beautifully. But it does look really good on college applications. Of course, I can really attest to that. So I just need to put on my former college counselor hat, and I'm like, no, Kaichi, make sure that you're talking about the club that you started and all these cool things that you're doing on your college applications. So yeah, forgive me, but I have to bring that up. And yeah, Pia or Jackson, maybe if one of you or both of you can share your experiences kind of getting acclimated to back into campus life and kind of how it's affecting your current and future trajectory.
Yeah, to piggyback off Kaichi, I am used to traveling a lot. My family travels a lot, but I've never been to the Dominican Republic, and it was just a whole new part of the world. And I really enjoyed seeing that, especially Dominican culture, which is like a whole mix of lots of different individual cultures. It was really cool to see how they interacted with each other, and how I could interact with them. And like Kaichi said, there are a lot of murals, so you could see, like, appreciate the art and the history, and a lot of these murals were inspired by historical events. So you could kind of learn about the country through these murals, and the murals are everywhere. So you were learning something everywhere you went. And that was really cool. Plus the community. I really want to stress the community. Now that I did this program, I not only want to do more service, more leadership and service, but I have the community to do so. And it's really like I'm expanding my network. And that's always really important also for college apps. And like my friends and I who went on this program still keep in touch. We're thinking of visiting the DR again, all together, getting a reunion, or at least a mini reunion. And you learn a lot of skills like adaptation, like expanding and meeting new people, and social skills through these programs. And so I highly suggest you do a leadership and service program.
That's incredible, Pia. Thank you so much for sharing. So, I mean, it is amazing to hear, what you're saying about how kind of these summer learning experiences have really set you up for future community service projects, and kind of taught you like very like replicable skills that you can bring back to not only, your current community in the Bay Area, but also other areas, where you might be exploring in the future, et cetera. Also, so happy to hear that you all are planning on getting back together and taking another trip to the DR. That's amazing to hear. It's one of the things that really highlights how incredible these programs are, is that like for most of these, groups of students, they really do keep in touch well after the summer is done. And yeah, I absolutely love hearing about students taking trips back to, their study abroad communities. Thank you so much, Pia. Jackson, can you share kind of your acclimation process, back into high school, but also, any thoughts you might have about how this is affecting future plans?
Yeah, so the first thing I kind of want to touch on is kind of culture shock going into Mexico. So there's a memory that I had. So like when I first flew in to the airport, it was very like humid and tropical. It was very different from what I'm kind of used to in LA. So when I got off the plane and everything, I saw my host mother with a placard with my name on it, and she was very welcoming. And then by that time I was already exhausted from the 2 plane flights that I had to take. So I passed out in the car on the way to the host home. And when like I woke up in the middle of the drive, and I looked around. It was dark out, but there were a bunch of neon signs that made it almost look like a fever dream to me. I vividly remember them. They were so much bigger than they are in the United States. It's just like my first experience of culture shock, because I hadn't been to Mexico before this, and it was very unique. And I was able to eventually get acclimated to the the Yucatecan culture, and living in a Yucatecan home and all of that. But when I came back, there was a bit of a reverse culture shock as well. I mean, like I was able to use AC back here, and like I'm able to drink the tap water. It's very different. But talking about like how I might use this in the future, I definitely I have had a background in like volunteering but not in like a international way. So I think that this is only bolstered my like interest in international communities, and it's only furthered my interest in international relations and foreign policy and things like that. And even though that's not what the program was about, it was very enlightening to me to like live in this different culture that's completely different from my own. And going off of what Ian said before about college applications, I mean, there's so many stories that you can find in just 3 weeks that you can use for college essays, and you can just put all of the service hours in there. Like I had 54 service hours in total or something like that, but it's not even like, that's not even the best part. The best part is just living through it all and just experiencing everything about Merida, about the Yucatan, and just completely like just living in a completely different culture is a very unique experience.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible, Jackson. Thanks so much for sharing your thoughts and your experiences. It really is. There are so many like little things that when traveling, especially traveling to like a country or a region for the first time, yeah, it's what I'm hearing is just it's so striking to see and experience it all that it just kind of all really adds up. These little things add up, but it sounds like you had an amazing network of folks both in Mexico and back in the States to kind of help with culture shock and then reverse culture shock, and just all in all, these experiences are so unique and so amazing for students at the high school level. And yeah, so we are again all about students at the high school level learning these kind of global insights as early as possible. I think that students definitely shouldn't have to wait until they get into college to study abroad. I mean, studying abroad at the high school level, it's such a impactful point in your lives, and to be able to really learn globally, interculturally. It sounds like you have all had incredible experiences. I think maybe just kind of one last question for all of you is if you can share what maybe just one thing that you miss most about your program, about Mexico, about the Dominican Republic, just about anything. I feel like that's kind of a theme of the evening is, what's one thing, what's the thing that you find is really staying with you that you miss the most?
I'm gonna jump on. Oh,
you can go. You can go. It's okay.
okay. Well, this is like my whole thing is the community. Guys, you don't understand. It is so, it's so striking. Like, I think about it sometimes and I'm like, it's crazy. This was completely coincidental. I could have chosen a different program, different session, and I wouldn't have met the people I met, but I did choose this program and I did choose that session, and I met some of the best people there, and we clicked right away. And I could tell that not every program did that because leadership and service in public health ran alongside my program, and our group just clicked immediately. Like there was no awkward phase. We met at the airport. We were like hugging each other. We felt like long lost friends already. And while the other program didn't exactly have that, we all became close. And like I said, we still keep in touch, and like we send each other pictures that come up like, oh my gosh, I miss you guys so much. Remember this? And at school, I'm like that one person who's like always like, oh, you want to hear about my DR experience? And I have the photos ready. And I just miss them so much. And it was really sad when we had our goodbye dinner and had to say goodbye to everyone. But again, we're planning a mini reunion, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's so touching. Thank you, Pia, for sharing. I'm so glad that, knock on wood, yeah, like you said, I'll keep my fingers crossed that you all will get the chance to reconnect. Jackson or Kaichi?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this may seem a little superficial, but I definitely miss the food there. I mean, my host mom made like the best chilaquiles. They were just so delicious. It was very different from the food, from the like authentic Mexican food that we have in Los Angeles and around the area. It's very different because like just the regions, but obviously I miss all of the people that I met. I miss my host mother. I just miss the region. I miss like the opportunities that we had and we took over there. It was just a great experience, just exploring the state, exploring Merida, going out, seeing the light show on a cathedral at night on a Friday night. Um, it was a very unique experience, and I am super happy that I took this opportunity. I would highly encourage that you guys do the same thing. It's something that you would absolutely not regret.
Thanks so much, Jackson. Thank you for sharing. And for what it's worth, I don't think that missing the food is superficial at all. I miss the food regularly from the places where I studied abroad. All right, last but not least, Kaichi.
Yeah, I really feel like I also miss the pace of life there. I feel like now that I'm back, really life has just started like picking up its pace. Everything's gotten busier, but I really miss those like days where it was just the perfect balance. And I really miss exploring the city a lot. I feel like every day really was a new adventure. We saw a different aspect of the city every day. Like, for example, I remember very vividly, like one time our host mom took us to like this annual festival that they had in the DR, and it was so lively. All the locals there were so amazing, and there was just like sounds of like bachata and merengue in the streets, and then everyone would just be like dancing, and you wouldn't know them, but you guys would still dance, and it was super fun. And another thing was I really really miss like how welcoming the people were there, and like the liveliness of the DR. Like everyone wanted to give you a hug. People wanted to know about you, like your story. And also one last thing was that the DR was really so gorgeous. It was really amazing, the views there, and even being able to see like the natural landscapes and the beautiful sunsets and sunrises. I feel like those small moments really made me enjoy the trip a lot more too.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you, Kaichi, for sharing. Yeah, it sounds like just an incredible experience for all three of you. Well, I think that about wraps up the Q&A portion of the evening. And I think just final thoughts. I want to thank Pia, thank Kaichi, thank Jackson for their time and really just helping share and paint such a vivid picture of just how absolutely wonderful these programs are. And I really just commend all three of you for your dedication to service and to giving back. And you can really see that these skills have stuck with you, because I think that is likely what drove you to apply to do this, because being a global ambassador, you're giving back as well. You're volunteering your time on a Thursday evening. I know you all have homework, so I'm going to let you get back to it, but I just want to say from me and all of us at CIEE, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Well, yeah, thank you. All right. I think that concludes our webinar. Thank you to all of our attendees. Thank you to all of our participants. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Take care.